Thanks for being here today. Please give it a like on your way in. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thanks to everybody that shared the link ahead of time. You guys are much appreciated. That's how we're able to get more likes before the stream starts. So I want to thank you for that. Also, thanks to the moderators. Thanks to everybody who donated. Again, give it a thumbs up on your way in. If you're new, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Thanks to whoever called out that troll at the beginning, Wingnut. We took care of him or her or whatever they identify as for just being a general hater. But appreciate you all for being here. I want to start with a positive story. I know a lot of what we talk about is negative and depressing, and to be truthful, that's because um, I'm guilty of this too. A lot of the information that is given to us every day is strategically given to us, meaning there's a lot of positive in the world, but we only hear about negative stories, right? You only hear about murder stories, and because if it bleeds, it leads, right? So we just hear a bunch of negative stories, right? So anyway, I wanted to just share a positive story of a woman that got a free car down here in Hillsborough. So it's just a quick little story, just to start with something positive. Florida woman who walked home from restaurant every day gets a car from deputies. I think it's kind of cool. You see her, the look on her face. She's very surprised and happy. Um, so much of what we hear about law enforcement is they're just so evil and tyrannical and they just hate minorities. Well, she doesn't look like a white person to me. But anyway, restaurant worker got some much needed help after getting a new car from the Hillsborough Sheriff's Office and Steps Towing. The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office said it learned the woman's predicament through a partnership with the restaurants that cater the community outreach division events. According to Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, the worker was taking an Uber to work and would walk home every day. Nobody should have to do that in the state of Florida. It's just way too hot for that. And it's not pedestrian friendly. But anyway, to help out, deputies worked with Steps Towing, which donated a car. Photos of the surprise gift showed the woman's emotional reaction to the donation. The story is a great example of how important our partnerships are, and we are thankful for each and every one of them. The sheriff's office said, "Thank you for helping us change this woman's life." I think that's a cool story. So I just wanted to share it. It's a real short read, and maybe this is something I can do every day. Find at least one positive story, so we're not just constantly just like everything sucks, even though everything kind of does suck right now. I mean, we need to find a way to keep our spirits high. So that's a good story of law enforcement doing something out of the kindness of their heart for a member of the community. Now she doesn't have to walk to work. That's a feel good, non-political story. All right. Now that we got that out of the way, let's talk politics. All right. So I told you guys I'm going to be calling out any Republican that is not America first. And if people get upset about that because it's like, that's the tribe, you're not allowed to criticize. Sorry, not sorry. I'm going to call out anybody that is not for freedom, liberty, and putting American citizens first. So Peter Meyer, shout out to everybody in Michigan. You might know who this guy is because his family owns the grocery chain Meyer. Peter Meyer is a congressman in like the Grand Rapids area. Anyway, his tweets have all been about Afghanistan. That's cool. Like that's what Republicans seem to be just hyper focused on right now. And I get it. We're the Afghanistan thing is major, but just like with the Cuba thing a few weeks ago, everybody was like talking about Cuba. Nobody talks about Cuba anymore. You notice that? They've moved on to this. This guy in specific wants to, just like Brian Kemp in Georgia, relocate, resettle refugees in the state of Michigan. What did I tell you guys yesterday? They would be strategically relocating Afghani refugees to swing states in the country. You had Brian Kemp in Georgia, and now this guy in Michigan lobbying for refugee resettlement camps in his state, a swing state. And this is a Republican. So if you live in Michigan, take note of this. Maybe you already knew about it. Here's a tweet from Bridget Gabriel. I don't know who she is. Maybe I should know. Anyway, she has a list of the RINOs that are running for re-election, and Peter Meyer is on that list for 2022. So while I got it pulled up, I might as well just read them off in case you guys don't know who they are. Maybe you can research them and see. It doesn't say which state they're in. But never Trump candidates running for Senate in 2022. Lisa Murkowski, that's Alaska. J.D. Vance, don't know who that is. James Lankford. And then never Trump candidates running for Congress in 2022. Liz Cheney, everybody knows her. That's Wyoming. Adam Kinzinger, everybody knows who that is, but I don't know what state he's in. Anthony Gonzalez, I believe he's Ohio. Tom Rice, don't know who that is. Fred Upton and Peter Meyer. So take note of these Republicans in your state. Find out who they're running against, and let's promote them. If it's an unknown name, you guys can email me. I don't have the biggest platform, but email me. Let me know if that person is trying to do an interview, get their voice out, get their message out. That's how we win, is we have to expose these RINOs. So I won't spend any more time on it. Just wanted to call that out because it came across my news feed. Peter Meyer is another Republican, air quotes, Republican, that thinks that we should resettle Afghani refugees in a critical swing state, Michigan. So just something to think about if you live in the state of Michigan. Peter Meyer, Meijer. All right, cool. Got it. Moving along. This Joe Biden situation is so incredibly frustrating because not only does he have this gigantic disaster on his hands with Afghanistan, he's got the pandemic, he's got the border, he's got inflation, he's got his son, all these videos and articles and photos, everything surfacing about his own son. It's just a swirl of chaos around this man. And his top priority right now is calling out Republican governors, namely Ron DeSantis in Florida, Greg Abbott in Texas, and probably Bill Lee in Tennessee and other Republican governors. But the two big ones that everyone talks about are Ron DeSantis and Greg Abbott, because of this whole lack of mask mandate coming from the state level. So he is threatening legal action, lawsuits against both Ron DeSantis and Greg Abbott, because he says, and he said in his little press conference yesterday where he didn't take questions afterwards, but we'll get to that later, that they're playing politics, that DeSantis and Greg Abbott are playing politics. They don't want to implement mask mandates for students, for school kids, because they're playing politics and it's for their political gain. I covered this already. What does Ron DeSantis gain from not implementing a mask mandate? What does that do for him personally? It makes sense why a Democrat governor implements all this stuff. It makes sense why Bill de Blasio puts his little key to NYC, because he's trying to cement his legacy. He wants to be known as the first mayor to do whatever. Cuomo wanted to be known as the governor who got it all right with COVID, and his lockdowns are what saved lives. Gavin Newsom, same thing. All of these Democrats who love to flex their power and rule with an iron fist, that is them trying to expand their power, cement their legacy, because they get something out of it personally. Ron DeSantis, on the other hand, he's restricting his own power. And he's also blocking other people who would otherwise extend their power. So he's effectively standing with individual rights. Everybody has a right to decide what is best for them, their family, their children. I've covered this millions of times. I don't understand why this is controversial. I don't understand why so many people have a hard time understanding the very basic concept of individual rights. They're using this COVID situation to say, well, your individual rights don't matter when it's public health emergency. Like, we could go down and talk about that ad nauseum. If you're not sick, you're not hurting anybody else. It's one thing if you go around coughing and breathing on everybody and you got like some severe cold, well then yeah, you're infringing on other people if you're just going to go walk up to strangers knowing that you're sick and spreading germs. They're trying to mask children, and there's studies already out there from actual legit doctors and scientists who aren't allowed to talk on the internet, so I can't really say too much. I mean, they shut down Rand Paul for telling the truth, citing peer-reviewed studies and all this about how it's ineffective for children. And then when you add in the fact that kids are already naturally germ factories, there's nothing you can do about that. Kids have always been germ factories while their immune systems are building. They're around so many germs. They're playing in dirt. They're not washing their hands, et cetera, et cetera. We've all been kids. Some of us have kids. We all know that, right? But when kids aren't even sick and you're adding the element of a filthy, disgusting mask, you actually put them at more of a risk for not just COVID, but everything else. But Biden says that DeSantis is playing politics with not implementing a mask mandate. It makes zero sense. But he trotted that out there, and now him trying to bring a lawsuit against a governor is just federal overreach. Him going over the governor's head, trying to bribe school districts in Florida to implement a mask mandate. What is that? What message is that sending? It sends a message that he's playing politics. It's always projection, right? He's the one playing politics. He's going over the state's head and going directly to the school district, offering them money to force children to wear masks, taking away the rights of parents. And the way that he frames it is so dishonest. He says that the governor, and not just Florida, but Texas and other Republican governors, because that's what he said. He really didn't say Ron DeSantis. He said GOP governors. He said that their whole goal is to outlaw masks. That's false. They're not trying to outlaw masks. They're saying masks should be optional, not mandatory. The government has no right to decide what goes on your kid's face. That's the way it's always been. Nobody should have more influence over your child's life than you, especially when you're talking about some distant, disconnected bureaucrat in Washington, D.C. Some career politician knows what's best for you. I'm so tired of it. I'm done with it. That's why I've been a little bit more fiery lately, because it's not just that. It's not just the fact that they want to force mask kids and treat them like little abused animals. It's the fact that so many random people are behind it. Everybody is a medical charlatan these days. They know what's best for you. They're telling you need to do this and this and this for your health and my health, and we're all in this together, and it's about collective health and all that. It's like, shut up. You don't run anything. You don't know what's best for anybody's health. Worry about your own situation. It's another thing I pointed out is it's a lot of the people. Hold on, this screen is kind of distracting. Okay, here we go. It's a lot of the people that that aren't even that healthy themselves. They're telling you what to do for their health or for your health, right? You've seen that meme of like a woman who's like overweight and she's in a little shopping, like one of those electric carts that you can drive in the grocery store, and she's like shouting at a skinny fit woman for not wearing a mask. She's like, "You're putting my health in jeopardy." Right? That's not the case with everybody. Some people are just naturally immunocompromised, but there are a lot of people who live horrible, unhealthy lives, but they're over there trying to control you because you aren't making decisions, but you're healthier than them. Your affairs are in order, but theirs aren't. So that's another problem that we have. But it's like when you talk about children and the abuse that they go through, there's nothing more despicable in this world than scumbags that want to control children, want to manipulate them, influence them, and indoctrinate them, and just totally dominate them, deny them their innocence, don't allow them to experience the world. Those are the worst kind of people. And I was listening to a story on the War Room of a man out in California who has a 3-year-old child, who has an upper respiratory infection. Now, this 3-year-old child is being forced to wear a mask every day. And the guy said when the kid comes home from work or from school, there's all kind of stuff in his mask, mucus, everything. It's nasty. It's a 3-year-old. So the mask is not clean. but the kid has a respiratory infection and it's also impacting his speech development. There's some like 42 muscles in the face. And when you're forced to wear a mask all day, on top of the fact that you're breathing in your own carbon dioxide all day, how can that be good for brain development? But that's a whole nother story. Common sense. You don't even have to have some like medical degree to know that. Between that and the fact that you aren't able to read facial expressions, you aren't able to express yourself. You don't know, people don't know what kind of mood you're in, all that stuff. When you do that to a child, think about the long-term effects that has. So he's dealing with all kinds of medical issues with his kid. He's depressed. He was crying on air. He didn't know what to do because he feels alone. He's out in California where they think no matter what your condition is, no matter what's going on in your life, you need to wear a mask. Every single human being on earth should wear a mask and listen to these people because apparently they're smarter than everyone else. That's the thing is everybody, there's two different philosophies. There's one philosophy where it's like hands off, everyone can do what's best for them, govern their own affairs. And then there's another philosophy that says, actually, we need a small group of people that tell us all what to do. The latter is what's happening in California. That's the most tyrannical state in the entire country, where it's so heavily regulated that even private schools are forcing kids to wear masks because they're being threatened by state government. Like the health department could go shut them down. So they find a way around, they find a legal loophole basically to regulate private businesses, regulate the lives of private citizens, and it's enough is enough. So I know it seems like there's like 3 or 4 topics that I'm just talking about every day, but that's because we're fine tuning what's really important. You think back a couple years ago, there was a whole bunch of just random stories and stuff. Trump derangement syndrome. Look at these liberals freaking out and stuff. None of that seems like ages ago, right? Because what we're dealing with now is so much more important, so much more detrimental, and it's going to have a much bigger impact on the future, right? And what they're doing to these kids is so beyond wicked, so evil for you to think that nobody can opt out, nobody can use a medical exemption, nobody can decide what's best for them. They have to listen to people who don't even know them, don't even care about them. How many people in this country, in the state, anywhere, how many of these people care about the little kid I just told you about? They might, but they still feel like, well, masks should still be mandatory because COVID. Everybody wants to live under the cloud of COVID and just submit. I'm not doing it. I refuse. I'm focused on trying to live my life. If you want to focus on trying not to die, that's you. Do that, live there. That's all you. Keep it away from me. The problem is the people who want to live in fear also want company. They don't want to just live in fear on their own. They want you to join them. They want to trap you with their low vibration, negative, dense, heavy reality. That's what it's about. People who want to be left alone and people who won't leave them alone. Which kind of person are you? Are you someone that wants to be left alone? Or are you somebody that's constantly nagging, badgering, pressuring people to live how you think they should live? It's like, why don't you go live your life? If you want to hide from germs and live in fear constantly and just let COVID dominate you, if you just want to bow to this virus for the rest of your life, wear 10 masks forever, if that's what you want to do it. But do it hundreds of miles away from me because you're dragging down the vibe. You'll weaken my immune system. And I know I speak for so many people because there's so many people who think just like this. They're like, I want to focus on living, not trying not to die. What you focus on expands. It's the people that hyper focus on, oh my gosh, COVID, fear. Those are the people that get sick. I told you back in, I want to say like August, over a year, I know somebody that they have a friend that spent like 3 months in quarantine, sanitized their entire environment, wet wipes or not wet wipes. My baby's crying out, so I'm thinking wet wipes, sanitary wipes, all of that stuff, cleaned that person's entire environment, quarantined groceries, followed the science, and then the very second she went outside, boom, got COVID. Because you sterilized your entire environment, you made your immune system weaker. It's like people have transformed their entire way of living and they think that's the way the world should be because they live that way. It's like, no, you do you, I'm going to do me. The same goes for wearing masks in school, getting the vaccine. You do you. If you want to get the vaccine because you're afraid, go for it. But I got on the whole armor of God. So I'm not walking around afraid of anything, especially something coming from man. I fear only God. That's it. That's it. That's the only person I should fear. I don't fear man. I don't fear these viruses. Never have, never will. And I just think it's really sad that people want to make everyone else join them in this entire fear existence. It's pitiful. It's sad and it's pitiful. You don't have to live that way. I mean, how long are you going to be alive? Life will just pass you by, right? You want to spend your whole time trying not to die from COVID-19 now? I'm done with it. I really actually thought that this was going to be, I'm one of those people that thought like, well, after the election, if Trump wins, this is what will happen with COVID. It'll just go. But if Biden wins, the virus will disappear. No. That's not the case. It didn't matter if Trump won or Biden won. It doesn't matter. They were going to use this virus well into the future. They've created this new reality. That's why they're passing all these restrictions. That's why they're implementing vaccine passports. They've created a new normal. So this is where we are now. We have to learn to live with this virus, but I'm not living with these stupid psychotic rules and restrictions where it's just constant fear. Big pharma. Have you ever in your entire life seen so many unpaid big pharma salesmen? Everybody's promoting the shot. I'm like, how are you hard selling me on a pharma product and you're not even on the payroll? People are so just like, you got to get this pharma shot. You got to get it. It's like people just completely abandon all of the other things that you can do for yourself. And I can't go any further into it because that would be, unfortunately, medical misinformation. If I told you anything else that might potentially be good for you, I'll just say what's good for me. I know what's good for me. And I do that every day. And that, you guys can read into that what you will. There's certain things that I do that keep me healthy. And those things are all absent a pharma product. And I just think it's wild to see how many people are just shilling for big pharma, just shilling. Like the only solution to this problem is the pharma injection. That is it. Nothing else matters. COVID is the giant cloud that hangs over us. And the only reason we can't go back to normal and have freedom again and safety and security is because you all haven't gotten the latest big pharma product. I'm sorry. That's a non-starter for me. It's just, I can't live there. Can't do it. So Joe Biden trying to go over the governor's head and also bring legal action while telling Republican governors that they're politicizing this. It's him that wants to control the face of children. It's them being creepy. It's the people that are constantly promoting vaccine segregation, mandatory masks, all of these restrictive draconian measures. It's these people that are playing politics, not just with some random issue, with your life, with the growth and development of your child. Politicians in Washington, D.C. think they know what's best for your child hundreds of miles away, maybe thousands of miles away. That's where we are right now. Bureaucrats, people who don't give a damn about you, don't even know you exist, but think they know what's best for you. And Joe Biden is no example. This dude, he's got way bigger fish to fry. How about you figure out how to get the remainder of American citizens out of Afghanistan instead of worrying about playing politics over here, trying to bring lawsuits against Republican governors. Stay out of our business. We're fine. Why don't you worry about what's going on in your own backyard in Washington, D.C.? Why don't you weed out all the corruption? Why don't you worry about your son losing laptops, taking photos with hookers? Yeah, how about that, Biden? Figure that out. All this talk about Trump. Look what Trump did. Trump. Biden is on record doing all this stuff. Half the accusations against Trump. Oh, Trump said the N-word. Trump called the military losers and suckers. Yeah, where are the receipts? Because we got the receipts on Biden. Talking about the military. Clap for that, you stupid bastards. He's called people lion, dog-faced pony soldiers. We've seen him sniffing little babies. That's all on video. All these Biden voters want to pretend like it's not happening, but we can produce hundreds of thousands of receipts on him, his son, his history. All these people in the Democrat Party, as they try to tell you, the party switched. Nope. The people who promoted segregation then are promoting segregation now. The people that want to discriminate and ostracize you out of society were doing it back then. They're doing it now. They have not switched parties. And this dude, the figurehead, the de facto leader of the donkey party, is over here trying to play politics, bring lawsuits against strong governors that believe in individual rights, liberty, and freedom, while he's got the disaster festering over there. Won't even take questions. The freaking spokesperson of the Taliban is taking more questions than Joe Biden. This dude trots out there, reads some stupid teleprompter message, and then walks away without taking any questions. I'm sorry, but if Trump did that, that would be talked about for the next 12 years. Remember that one time when Donald Trump got us into this foreign affairs issue and conflict, and he didn't take a question from the media? But it's okay if Biden doesn't do it. It's okay. And I know the media lately has been grilling him. To me, it seems like 25th Amendment is about to get invoked. I don't believe it's in good faith that the media is attacking him. But I'm talking about these rank and file leftists online that love Biden, or supposedly do. We don't know where those 81 million voters are. But the ones that do, the ones that are being outspoken, the ones that are projecting, the ones living in fear and are mad because you won't live in fear and be miserable with them, they're just okay with the fact that this man left allies in Afghanistan, left American citizens. They have no plan to get them out. This entire thing is a disaster. His priorities are so screwed up. And we're just going to continue to call this fraud out, this phony, expose him, expose these wicked people that think that they should be able to control what goes on your kid's face, even if it's to their detriment. You could just put the whole liberty thing aside. Put liberty aside. What if you're medically at risk with putting on a mask or getting a vaccine? There is no one-size-fits-all solution. We're all different. We're all going to react to different medications different. How is that not common sense? But they think, oh, it should be forced. It should be forced. Just do it. Just get it. Just get it. Big Pharma. Big Pharma's your friend. Sorry. The more you pressure me, the more I'm going to move away. The more I'm going to resist. The more you try to suppress doctors who have contrary points of view, the more I'm going to be like, well, let me hear what they have to say. I mean, you threw them off the internet. Tell me there's a scientific consensus. 99% of doctors agree. 99% of scientists agree. Climate change is real. No, 99% of the people you promote, because you probably fund their research, 99% of those people agree. What about all the people you don't even talk to because they contradict your narrative? It's like Biden. Biden saying, we're trying to protect children by controlling what goes on their face, Biden. We're trying to protect children, and these governors are in the way. No, first of all, did the parents ask you for protection? I mean, they're making it optional. If you want to muzzle your child, muzzle your child. But don't gripe at the parent next to you for letting their child live a normal, healthy life. He's saying, we're trying to, parents really want it. The parents are asking for it. No, the parents you're asking want it. But there's a lot of evidence to the contrary. How many school board meetings have you seen where several passionate parents show up to denounce the forcing of masks for their child and critical race theory and drag queen story hour, and they're black, they're white, they're Filipino, they're Hispanic. People from all walks of life are rejecting this tyranny, this demonic takeover of their children. So Biden saying that this is to help kids is a lie. And it only works on tribalists that are like, yes, my side, Democrats, they can do no wrong. They would never lie. Those are the only people that works on. Everyone else has already seen probably 5 or 6 videos of parents railing against critical race theory and forced inoculations and having their children being treated like pets. Man, these I've seen dog masks that are dog muzzles that are more humane than some of these masks that people are wearing, giving them a false sense of security. I mean, it's like, if you want to do that, do it. But again, I'm not doing it with you. I'm not. So anyways, I got that little rant out of the way. So now let's move on. Whew. Yeah. And I better address this too, because people were asking about it. Recall Ron DeSantis is apparently a thing, but at the same time, it's not a thing. It's a thing in that they created a petition, last year. It's now got 50,000 signatures in the state of Florida to recall Ron DeSantis. There's only one problem. You can't recall Ron DeSantis. We don't have anything in our state constitution that allows for a recall of this governor. So what you're doing is effectively trying to get some social media clout. Whoever put this out, whoever got this petition going last year, it fell on deaf ears last year, but now it's gaining steam now that everyone wants to point to, oh my gosh, Florida, everyone's going to die in Florida because this Ron DeSantis. But it's not going to happen. It's a non-starter. It's DOA. He will not be recalled. In fact, he's going to be reelected in landslide fashion. Doesn't matter who you bring up. He's going to get reelected. So this article, basically, I'm not even going to read it. It just says there's no way that he can be recalled because it's not possible. There's only a handful of states that actually do recalls where you can recall the governor. Here's the list of the states in case your governor sucks like the one in California and you want to recall. So Alaska, Arizona, California, Colorado, Georgia, Idaho, Illinois, Kansas, Louisiana, Michigan, Minnesota, Montana, Nevada, New Jersey, North Dakota, Oregon, Rhode Island, Washington, and Wisconsin, and the District of Columbia. You cannot do it unless you're in one of those states. So the fact that they want to try to recall the governor is just hilarious. I just want to address that because some people are like, have you heard about the petition to recall Ron DeSantis? Yeah, I did. It ain't going to happen. So moving along, let's talk about this Canadian Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, Mr. Blackface himself, or was it Brownface? I think he dressed up like Aladdin. Yeah. So, I mean, that would technically be Brownface, right? Anyway, this guy doesn't think that Canadians should be able to fly. And I told you guys, I've been focused and paying close attention to what's happening in other Western countries because it can happen here. So that includes France, the UK, that includes freaking Australia, New Zealand, Canada. Listen to this guy. He thinks that he should be able to run your life.
Good morning, Prime Minister. Marika Walsh with the Globe and Mail. Following on your response to Louis' question, can you please be specific? You're championing this plan, but we don't actually hear from you how it's going to work. So moving away from the Federal Civil Service and looking at travelers and planes, trains, cruises, what happens to those travelers who refuse to be vaccinated and do not have a medical exception? Will they be allowed an accommodation or can they not travel?
Canadians know that the way to get through this pandemic is for everyone to get vaccinated. So unless people have a medical exception, they will not be able to board a plane or a train in Canada if they are unvaccinated.
He thinks he can just dictate where you go. But he would say his justification for this would be, it's for your health. I'm trying to destroy your life so that I can ultimately save your life. In order to improve your life, I have to make it suck completely, and you must bow and worship me. I decide where you travel. Can't you tell how they get something out of it? They get a rise out of having that much power. I just decided millions of people can't travel unless they get a specific medical procedure that I tell them to get. And I'm also going to lie to them and make them think that the pandemic will magically end if everybody gets the shot. Have we ever gotten 100% of human beings to do anything? 100%. That includes homeless people, drug addicts, people that live off the grid and just hide 100% of people? Really? I mean, he thinks that by shutting down travel, that's going to stop Canadians. I mean, I think that most Canadian cities are just miles from the US border, so they can just drive. I don't know where else they would fly. But he's saying you can't take a train, you can't take a bus, you can't get on an airplane. Isn't that government overreach? You're telling a private airline what to do? I don't know. I understand airlines, they have to abide by federal law. I don't even know how it works in Canada. I know how it works here. But you're telling a private business how they should be run. Government regulation of private ownership sounds like fascism to me. So Trudeau, this guy is a clown. He's a tyrant. And he sings the same tune as Emmanuel Macron, as the prime ministers of New Zealand and Australia. Sounds like Boris Johnson. Sounds like Joe Biden. They're all the same. They all sound exactly the same. Except Biden is a little bit more toned down. Believe it or not, he has actually not even said half the stuff that they're saying in New Zealand, in Canada, in Australia. You can't travel. And this whole stupid, psychotic lie that we're doing this for your health, we're doing this for your safety. You can't fly anymore. We know it's a lie. Just like with Australia. Think about what they call some of this stuff. That Australia one really stuck out to me. The one I played yesterday where they're forcefully removing people from their homes and shoving them into facilities, which you might as well call them what they are, concentration camps. They can't call them that. So the euphemism they came up with, which isn't very clever at all, a health hotel. That's not a health hotel. If that's a health hotel, then Planned Parenthood is where people go to actually plan their parenthood. No, that's where they go to end the life of an unborn baby. That's a fact. But they can't say that. They can't call it an abortion mill. They can't call it a murder clinic. They have to call it Planned Parenthood. You're not planning parenthood, just like you're not putting someone in a health hotel. You're concentrating them in a facility with other people who you forcefully removed from their homes, who aren't even sick, and you're telling them they're going to be there for an indefinite stay. That sounds like that's going to make them sick. That sounds like the opposite of health. I guess staying home and being a responsible person in your own house, if you're sick or not sick, is just too much. It's just too irresponsible. This all boils down to whether you're in the United States, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, Brazil, doesn't matter where you are. Big government doesn't think that you are responsible, smart enough, or capable enough to govern your own affairs. So they think they're going to step in and run society for you. But they themselves are human beings that are no smarter than you, and they're all raging hypocrites. All tyrants are hypocrites, period. They never abide by the rules, regulations, and restrictions that they make you abide by. That's a fact, and there's thousands of examples for it, even though you got a lot of people out there shilling for big government, shilling for big pharma, shilling for big social media censorship. It's just, we're on a treadmill of insanity. So I was looking for this other video. Where's it at? I might have clicked away from it because there's something else from Justin Trudeau that I have to play for you guys because it makes zero sense whatsoever. I don't know what the hell this man just said. Let me start from the beginning here.
Exactly the example. It is exactly the example of the kinds of things you need to do to counter the she-cession and turn it into a she-covery. Fact is, the conservatives don't talk about that in their lengthy platform.
Conservatives don't.
It is
Hold on.
exactly the example of the kinds of things you need to do to counter the she-cession and turn it into a she-covery.
Bro, what is a she-cession and a she-covery? I know what he meant to say. Well, that's what he meant to say. But I could decode that. Recession and recovery? He called it she-cession and she-covery. This is the leader of Canada. These elected officials get more psychotic every single day. What the hell is a she session? Anybody want to put that in the chat? And why the hell are we calling it a she session? You know what? This reminds me of just a few weeks ago when we were talking about Cori Bush and her birthing person. I'm sick of these new stupid terms that they're trying to bring, and they just trot it out like it's normal. Has anyone on planet Earth, any human being, ever heard the term she session and she covery? No, but he just said it so nonchalant and casual, like that's just common English language, like that's just right there in the dictionary. I love it. She session and she covery. Or yeah, let's just all of a sudden let's just start saying birthing person. You mean pregnant woman? Or here's one of my favorites from the beginning of the year. Y'all remember this one? A man and a woman. All of this trying to blur the lines and manipulate reality. And of course, it's hate speech if you don't adopt these new terms. That's them trying to cram down and forcefully superimpose their psychotic beliefs on you. So how could you take anybody serious? A leader of a country talking about she covery, or a leader of a country or an elected member of Congress talking about black birthing person, talking about a man and a woman, virtue signaling into the wind, because what are you appeasing, like 4 people in your country when you say that? I don't get it. Remember when all those Democrats were on the stage? Remember they all got out of that same clown car during the Democrat debates, and there were like 14 of them on stage. And Julian Castro said, when they were all like, when they asked the question, I don't remember who was moderating the debate, they asked the question for all the candidates to raise their hand who support reproductive rights, which we know what that means. That's a euphemism for killing babies. That's what it is. It's reality. They all raise their hand, and then Julian Castro goes, I also support reproductive rights for transgendered women. Men can't get pregnant. So when he said that, as he's running for president, who does that message resonate with? First of all, it doesn't make any sense. Second of all, what percentage of the population are you talking to? And you wonder why the Taliban's over there taking photos with ice cream. You wonder why we're getting so much aggression from China and from other countries in the Middle East. Now it's going to be Afghanistan with the Taliban in charge, Russia. They all look at us and laugh. They laugh at our military videos. They laugh at Mark Milley when he says, we're worried about white rage. They're laughing. They're making a mockery of the United States of America because the puppet president in the White House has made our country weaker, softer, more embarrassing. He tripped up the stairs. That's not a symbol of strength. That is somebody who apparently got 81 million votes. That's who's in the White House right now. And that's what they're saying is this is what was better than Trump. People psychotic. They're like, I'd rather pay $70 at the tank at the gas pump than another mean tweet from Trump. I miss those mean tweets, man. I miss them. Hopefully he says something mean on stage this Saturday. Say something mean about what's going on in the White House, something mean about what's going on in the Middle East, something mean about inflation, about food shortage, labor shortage. These people are insane. Madness. Talking about she covery, a woman, and birthing person, and chest feeding. These are coming from, this isn't fringe stuff. This woke Marxist garbage has marched all the way through our institutions. Gender pronouns and all this stuff, and chest feeding, father's milk. These are real terms that they're trying to implement and superimpose and say, this is the way we're going to do it from now on. And you wonder why other countries are looking at us like, yeah, we don't trust you anymore. We could be easily conquered because the embarrassment in the White House who trips up the stairs, the media only wants to record him eating ice cream when his administration is a complete unmitigated disaster. That's why. Does it make sense now? Anyway, we'll move on from this clown. Oh, yeah, here's his official statement. Let's play this real quick because I want you to hear it. If you didn't hear it, because I just kind of paraphrased it. Let's hear what he actually said about these Republican governors playing politics. Notice how he just uses his little manipulation because it works on people who don't think critically.
Unfortunately, as we've seen throughout this pandemic, some politicians are trying to turn public safety measures, that is children wearing masks in school, into political disputes for their own political gain. Some are even trying to take power away from local educators by banning masks in school. They're setting a dangerous tone. For example, last week at a school board meeting in Tennessee, protesters threatened doctors and nurses who were testifying, making the case for masking children in schools.
Where's the receipt on that?
Intimidation and the threats we're seeing across the country are wrong. They're unacceptable.
Hold up. Resistance to the tyranny is wrong, is what he's saying. Showing up to a school board meeting is wrong, is what he's saying. Of course he's saying that it's wrong because he put you on a list. There's lists now. They got lists of you. If you reject COVID measures, you're on a list. They're watching you. You're a potential domestic terror threat. If you oppose or you question the election, you're a potential domestic terror threat. So he's saying it's wrong for you to oppose the federal government trying to make your child wear a mask in school. Just so we're clear.
I've said before, this isn't about politics. It's about keeping our children safe.
By muzzling them.
It's about taking on the virus together, united.
United, but I'm going to sue Republican governors.
But I'll stand with those who are trying to do the right thing. Last week, I called school superintendents in Florida and Arizona to thank them for doing the right thing and requiring masks in their schools. One of them said, "We teach science, so we followed science." The other said,
I guarantee
they have a guiding principle, students first. I just couldn't agree more with what they both said.
Whatever. That sounds so cheesy and rehearsed. Mr. President, we teach science and we follow the science. Well, the science will probably say that children shouldn't be forced to wear masks for their psychological health, if nothing else. Anyway, enough of that phony. I'm looking for this specific video, and I hope it didn't get taken down. It was on Twitter. I tweeted it out. Here we go. This is wild, y'all. I gotta start this from the beginning. And I'm gonna make it, well, we can just keep it like this. I'll pause it throughout. So this is a teacher out in Utah. This video is making the rounds on the internet. This teacher has recently been fired. Here's what's going on. If Biden wants to do something to protect children, he needs to crack down on teachers like this. How many viral videos are we going to have to see of teachers going completely unhinged, screaming on kids, freaking out on protesters, that freaking Subaru Karen, all these teachers talking about I screwed it up yesterday when I tried to say it. Genitals and gender, that TikTok from yesterday. These are people that are in charge of children's education. So you know what? Screw this whole mask argument. You want to mask children in school? Put your kids in school with masks. The rest of people should just homeschool their kids.
I'll straight up call it out. I'm like so over it. Okay. Okay, well, I will be super proud of you if you chose to get the vaccine. But yeah.
So, like, this is awesome. It's great start to the year. I already have, is that, like, the reason it's called the Delta variant? I mean, obviously,
Listen to this one.
We'll just keep getting we'll just keep getting variants over and over and over until people get vaccinated. It's never going to end.
Yeah, we know.
Exactly. It could end in 5 seconds if people would get vaccinated.
That's medical misinformation.
Yes.
She should be fired on those grounds right there.
I hate Donald Trump. I'm going to say it. I don't care what y'all think. Trump sucks.
Trump sucks. Yeah, she sounds like a stable
He's
genius.
a sexual predator. He's a literal moron. Go tattle on me to the freaking admin. They don't give a crap. No, he is not.
What are you talking about?
Turn off the Fox News. Do your parents listen to Fox News?
Y'all hearing this?
So
Wow.
this is my classroom, and if you guys are going to put me at risk, you're going to hear about it because I have to be here.
Where's her
I
mask?
don't have to be happy about the fact that there's kids coming in here with their variants that could possibly get me or my family sick. That's rude. And I'm not going to pretend like it's not. So don't ask me to. That's damn right.
Wow. Doing a
I'm
bang up
not going to
job.
pretend. I'm not going to lie. If you ask me a legit question, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sugarcoat it either. Because y'all need to hear the truth.
Hey, I 100% agree. You have an opinion. I'm also just a dumb teenager.
You don't have to be, though. That's the thing. Most of y'all parents are dumber than you. I'm going to say that out loud.
Yeah, she got fired. She got fired for that rant right there, that unhinged rant. While she sat there and talked about, she insulted all those kids. She said that their parents are dumber than them, but this idiot didn't realize she was being recorded. How could you not realize you were being recorded in your classroom where everybody has a cell phone? She just went on this whole tear, this tirade against students, and she herself is not even wearing a mask. She's so freaked out about COVID, but she herself is not wearing a mask. Well, now she's walking the unemployment line, and this is in Utah. That is the state of affairs. That's what is the real issue in school, is the type of people that are teaching your kids, preaching hate. She sounds like a hate-filled psychopath. So she's full of hate, pushing her hate, projecting her fear onto the kids in the classroom. And that's before teaching critical race theory and everything else. I think she's actually a history teacher, which is ironic. The fact that she's a history teacher, she doesn't understand what's going on in the world right now. So good riddance to her. Good thing she got fired, because a person like that has no business in the classroom on taxpayer dime talking down to students and belittling. And this isn't even like the 5th video that I've covered alone. There's endless supplies of these videos online that you can pull up. Unhinged teacher rant. Search. You'll get a laundry list of videos of teachers just like her insulting students, bullying students, harassing students, but then turn around and say, protect our kids, mask them up. That's what's happening in the world, in America. They're manipulating the youth and trying to go full scale with this insanity. So I'm going to wrap after I say this, because I started with talking about how some people want to live in fear. They want to live the rest of their lives trying to avoid things instead of trying to focus on things that make them happy, healthy, safe. They want to focus on things that make them afraid. And that's fine. They're allowed to do it. It's kind of sad. I feel for them. The problem is they want you to join them. Misery loves company. That's why they can't leave you alone. They can't just leave well enough alone. They have to attack you. You're putting my health at risk because you aren't trusting Fauci and his science. Well, let me just read to you guys something that came across, I don't know, on Twitter. And it's basically a screenshot of everything that's happened every year, every fear campaign. And it goes back to the year 2000. So the year 2000, Y2K is going to destroy everything. 2001, anthrax is going to kill us all. 2002, West Nile virus is going to kill us all. 2003, SARS is going to kill us all. 2005, bird flu is going to kill us all. 2006, E. coli is going to kill us all. 2008, financial collapse is going to kill us all. 2009, swine flu is going to kill us all. 2012, the Mayan calendar predicts the world ending. 2013, North Korea is going to cause World War III. 2014, the Ebola virus is going to kill us all. 2015, ISIS is going to kill us all. 2016, Zika virus is going to kill us all. 2020, coronavirus is going to kill us all. The truth is fear and is going to kill you. Turn off the TV. Turn off the tell-lie vision that is programming you with fear, which makes you make fear-based decisions like trusting big pharma, big government and a totalitarian takeover of your life. It's all fear. This is all dated back to the year 2000. A new fear, a new pandemic of fear every year. Climate change, honorable mention. You could probably have some climate emergency every year. We're going to be dead in 12 years, said AOC. It's all fear. So that's my final thought today. I want to read some of these super chats because I did get a super chat or two. Let me do this. Okay. I think I just got a super chat from, and please, guys, give it a thumbs up. Please, please do that. I got a super chat from Norm. Norm says, thanks for being a brave patriot, Mike. Thank you, Norm. God bless you. I appreciate you for the super chat. Art says, I live in Montreal. I confirm people in the streets, even vax, tyranny and dictatorship, bars, gyms, and restaurants closed to unvax, segregation. Yeah, the party of segregation then is the party of segregation now. There's a certain ideology that drives their motivation, the policies they put in place. You're telling me the party switched? That's like saying good and evil switched. No, good and evil didn't switch. Good has always been good. Right has always been right. Evil has always been evil. Wrong has always been wrong. And the very fact that they're trying to tell you otherwise is evil in itself. Democrats, the left, liberals, they still believe in the year 2021 that you should judge people based on race. They believe in segregation today, just like they did back in the 30s. Back in the early 1900s, they still believed in that. They still feel entitled to the fruits of other people's labor. Still, in the year 2021, just like 1921, just like 1821, nothing has changed. All right? Steve says, I sent Venmo, much love, and aloha, brother, from Oahu, Hawaii. Appreciate you, Steve. God bless you. Thank you. I think I actually just got a notification for that on my phone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to the moderators. Thank you, DM, for promoting the links. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter, all the different social media accounts, I'm there. I have a presence on all of them. I'm on Gab. I'm on Getter. I'm on Rumble. I have a presence on all these platforms, but my biggest audience is on YouTube and on Twitter. People like, get off these social media. I'm like, you get off. I mean, you're watching me here. I'm just saying that politely, but seriously, it's a necessary evil. That's why you still have the biggest content creators are still here, even though they're on other platforms, they're still here. Everybody that has Getter and all these other social media, they're still on Twitter because Twitter doesn't want you there. If they don't want you there, that's probably where you should be because there's a reason why they don't want you there. That's how you reach normies. Normies are on the mainstream social media. If they weren't, there would be no censorship. It would just be a conservative echo chamber, right? That's what it would be. They don't want you. They don't want your message reaching somebody who might agree, who probably will agree, because it's common sense. Common sense makes sense. And once you start looking at things critically, you start seeing what's happening. You can't unsee it. And that's a danger to the control structure that's in place. They don't like that. They don't want people waking up. They don't want people being fiercely independent. Thank you, Norm. Thank you, Leo. Appreciate everybody. Unspecified V, everybody in the chat. God bless you. I got to get out of here. Got to go help out with the little guy. But appreciate you all for tuning in. You guys are amazing. I don't think I'll be live tomorrow. I'll be traveling tomorrow. Trump has a big rally in Coleman, Alabama on Saturday. So if they give me enough time on the mic, I will say some of the same things that I've been saying on this channel this week. So be on the lookout for that. We'll be covering it on Right Side Broadcasting, probably on YouTube, but definitely on Rumble and on the RSBN app. And hopefully Trump goes to some of these conservative states, these other red states that have rhinos, and we can weed out these rhinos and maybe actually get something done in Congress after 2022. I mean, if he's going to run again in 2024, obviously elections got to get cleaned up, but you got to have a good supporting cast around the president. That's what you got to have. So that's it. That's all I got to say. God bless you. Thanks for tuning in. Give it a thumbs up. Help me circumvent YouTube's algorithms. I'll catch you guys in the next stream.